Hey everybody, how are you doing? It's your boy DC, Thursday night host of Rogers Out of the Fog.
Right, you kind of got to make your own fun.
Yeah.
Which was a transition for me, going into the morning show here.
Proud. Keep doing the amazing work, will you?
They're learning about how to hire people.
20 years of local matter, so join me every Thursday night and see what's going on in the fog.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Good evening, everybody. It's your boy DC. This is Out of the Fog, a local matter show. And on the couch tonight, the one and only Helen Escott, a mystery writer. Can't wait to catch up with her. And then we got Matt Dines and David Shears, both from Hurricane Music, talking about the wicked stuff they're doing, artist management, and their own history of being rock stars. Incredible. And then finally, Melonee Steele from MAS Placement, Your Tooth Fairy, who has done so much to help our dental industry evolve and to find all the special people for the places we need them to help us with the grills. It's Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. Like I told you before the break, we're coming in hot tonight. It's all-star cast, and the first up on the couch, the one and only Helen Escott. And if you see the cover of this book, you'll now know who the writer be. To my left, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm so happy to have you back.
Thanks for having me. I love coming back.
I want to start where we left off, which was our last hang, and to find out about your work previous of your career as a mystery writer is pretty full circle, and I think would be pretty interesting to the folks at home. So I'll hand it over to you to begin.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what led you into being a writer of these types of pieces.
I had the perfect storm of careers. I was in the media for 10 years, so I knew how to ask questions, and then I joined the RCMP as their communications strategist as a civilian member for almost 20 years. So that's 30 years of asking the right questions and knowing how to get the answers. So yeah, it was just a perfect storm of career. And when I retired, I said, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm living my 14-year-old dream. I wanted to be an author, and here I am.
How does one go from, I'd love to write, to doing what you've done with the number of books you have created?
You have to have determination, lock yourself in a basement, don't answer the phone, and work all night long. So you just literally got to work hard, take a lot of courses, and do the work.
There's the romantic side of writing, and then there's the research side of writing, and one has to happen before the other, maybe, or not. What do you think?
My books have a lot of research. It takes a long time because I have to interview a lot of subject matter experts, because I don't want police officers reading this book going, oh, that would never happen. That's not how crime is investigated. So, but I do have a big police audience across Canada who read my books, and they all love how, because each book is run like a real police investigation from start to finish. And I don't know how the books end. I just follow the investigation like any investigation does, and I just follow the trail.
It's pretty amazing, and when I think about the evolution that has happened in so many different types of industries and services, I mean, you know, in my arena, digital marketing 2 years ago was entirely different than it is now. But when it comes to the process of case study a la mystery work, has it stayed tried and true? No innovations or adaptations? It's the one way forward to solve that crime? What do you say about that?
No, there's always, everything changes. You know, it was same with crime. You're not solving crime today the way you did it 50 years ago. You know, now we have DNA, and that process gets more and more complicated every year, and more access. There's more tools on the tool belt for police officers to investigate crime. So, and you have to advance with that. I mean, I can't write a crime book if I'm not up to date on all the crime tools that are out there available, because police officers will say, well, why didn't you just use this? You know, so yeah, no, it takes a long time. You got to do a lot of research.
It's funny you say that, because I guess depending on the time in life when you are writing the book, it leads to a million realities like what we're talking about now, which is what was known then around this. And that can get quite complex. So you got to be a good master of juggling the details, I assume.
Yeah, and that's where research comes in. And I always get, I go to the subject matter experts like John Fitzgerald, who's the historian with the Basilica Heritage Society. He was there's a character in the book actually based on him, James Fitzgerald. Be careful, because he is a murder suspect. And so he was actually my subject matter expert for this, and in past books it was Larry Dowie. And so I always go to the experts, and people are always willing to help. I always phone and say, listen, I'm thinking about, you know, murdering this guy, and this is kind of the idea. And they're like, oh yeah, let me help.
That's hilarious in its own way. That must really give you a gas every time you reach out for that.
Yeah, it always ends with, I assume you're writing a book.
And then you, maybe we'll see. Yeah, maybe not. Well, speaking of which, I want to talk about a couple of things that you're involved with outside of writing, and we'll double back to that towards the end. Talk to me about the work that you are doing with the kids in the schools.
Yes, so I have this course called The Art of Murder, and it's about how to write a crime thriller. And it started actually with libraries, doing book clubs in libraries, and they'd be always asking me, can you come in and do a writing course? And writing course is like everybody does a writing course. I wanted to do something really interesting. So I created this course, and it starts out, and now this fall I'm going to offer it to high schools, and so whoever's interested can contact me on my social, and we'll set it up. But it starts out with, I look at how to plan the murder, how to make the murder believable, and how to solve the murder. And it's about a 20-minute slideshow, and we have a discussion. It's a very lively and creative discussion, and they start to get into it. And at the end of it, I do this exercise called The Man Fell Down the Stairs. And I write this line on the board, and I say to them, who's the man? How old is he? Does he have an accent? Where's he from? Does he have a limp? How did he fall down the stairs? Was he pushed? Did he accidentally fall? Is he running from somebody? And what happens when he gets to the bottom of the stairs? Does he run? Is he dead? Who killed him? And by the time this is over, they have 2 or 3 paragraphs. And I'm like, there's your first chapter. Right there. Because that's always the one thing people will say to me is, I got this great idea for a book. I don't know how to start it. Okay, well, let's just start with The Man Fell Down the Stairs and see what happens. Every paragraph starts with the, so let's do it. And they get really into it. And it's about inspiring young people, one, to read Newfoundland literature, no matter what it is. Read local, that's the one thing I want to do. 2 is to get Newfoundland literature in schools, because I don't think our high school students are reading enough Newfoundland literature. You know, great, read the classics, but mix it up with some great Newfoundland literature, because there's a lot of great writers here. And 3 is about inspiring young people to think about writing. Like, listen, you're not going to pay your mortgage off as an author, but you can have a lot of fun in the evenings when you want to have some downtime and have some fun.
And we don't ever do one thing anymore anyway.
No, everybody got to have, listen, if you can't just sing anymore, you got to sing, dance, produce, you got to
walking on your hands, I mean,
do it
sell
all.
it then.
You got to do it all.
And we get to do it all. How lucky are we?
I know, right?
I want to ask you, walking tours.
Yes.
Tell me more.
This is the most exciting thing. So I mentioned John Fitzgerald. So I just happened to be talking to him one time about in the book, the murder starts at the Masonic Temple down on Cathedral Street, which is the first Masonic temple built in North America, built in the 1800s, late 1800s. I think it was in 1894, and when Newfoundland was a British colony. And at that time, they used to call Newfoundland the Gibraltar of North America because of a strategic point. Now remember, we're going into the First and Second World War. So the rumor was Masons took treasure and brought it to the New World. Well, if you watch The Secrets of Oak Island, they'll tell you it's in Nova Scotia. But Nova Scotia had joined Canada in the mid-1800s. Newfoundland was still a British colony. So Freemasons, who are British, are going to take treasure. Why are they going to bring it to Canada? They're going to bring it here to Newfoundland. So I followed that trail through paperwork. And it's very, very interesting what I found out. So when John and I were talking about it, I said we should do a tour, because he was already doing a tour of the Ecclesiastic District, which is a National Canadian Historic Site. And very interesting, because all these buildings are just so beautiful. And a lot of people haven't been inside of them. So I said, well, why don't we take people back to the scene of the murder, and we'll start at the Basilica, In the book, there is a stained glass window at the Basilica with a spelling mistake in it. So we start there, and we go around, and we go to the Gower Street United and the Kirk, which is the Scottish church, and the Anglican church. And then we right now the Masonic Temple's under construction, so we can't go in there, but we stand outside. And when you do it, that whole walking tour is in the shape of a G. And if you're familiar with the Masonic symbols, like the eye on the front there and the compass, there's always a G in the middle, and G stands for geography or God, whatever you believe in. So that walking tour is in the shape of a G.
No
so
mistake.
We take you on the tour. We take you back to the scene of the murder. We show you all the Masonic symbols in these churches, which will blow your mind, because people say, I've never been in this church, or I've been in this church all my life and never noticed that.
That's amazing.
And it's great. And the first tour we thought we'd get about 25, 30 people, 70 showed up. And the next one is October 15th from 3 to 5 in the afternoons, a Sunday. Come with us, wear sneakers, because everything in downtown St. John's is uphill.
Well, as we know. I want to thank you so much for coming back onto the show. And will you come back again and see us sometime?
Absolutely. I got a new book coming out next year, so yeah, I would love to.
Well, you know you'll be back.
For sure.
And with the fashion always, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, I want you to check out Helen Escott, Operation Masonic, one of many books. Check out the walking tour and reach out for any old thing on the social media that you've seen across the key. This is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and from books to music, I'm joined by two guns, both musicians who have risen the ranks, rocked out, made us lose our minds, and said, you know what? Now we're going to run all this and help the other artists, and Hurricane Music was born. Matt and Dave, what is up?
Hey, this is it. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. I feel like I just summarized it all.
Interview's over.
Yep. But it was great to have you. And tune in next time, everybody. No, I'm joking. So I want to actually start it off with you and talk to me about your love of music and what got you into it.
Oh, no. Well, I picked up a guitar in junior high through the public school system. Had some great music teachers. Went on YouTube. Here we are. So there you go. And I feel like the next generation is learning the exact same way. So
it's true.
Yeah, we're doing good there. So picked it up there, and you know, I met Dave along the way, and we've had our fair share of shows. I think maybe 300 with Rocket Ship and other bands, and yeah. So yeah, it's been good. We've seen both sides of the industry now. You know, we've been artists, and we've been everything else now.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything else that goes with it.
Everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
David, I'll ask you the same. Music for you, how did the journey begin?
When I was 14, my brother got the Brave New World Iron Maiden record, and I heard it, and I was like, I want to play bass. And so when I was 14 for Christmas, I got from the Shears catalog one of those old Nova basses, and that was the first thing that I learned on. And then, like, luckily for me, there was some kids at school that I didn't really know that were into music, that had just started a band, and there was nobody that played bass. So I didn't even have to audition. I was just vetoed right into the band. And then like I just fell in love with music and everything to do with the industry, to the point where I grew up in rural Newfoundland, but as soon as I was old enough, I moved to St. John's to chase the dream.
I love it. And now you're living it. And I want you to take a moment before I ask you any other questions. Remember the day you dreamed of being where you are now. And everyone, when that moment comes, is like, whoa. So I'll ask you, when you think back of getting that bass and getting the jointed band, did you think that you would now be sitting here talking about how you help so many other artists to grow their craft and their success?
No, not even a little bit. And to the point where I'll go even further. When Rocket Ship broke up, which was 2015, 2016, around there, I kind of left music for a little while, went back to school and thought, oh, you know, I'm never going to be involved in the industry again. But it's one of those things where if you love it, it just pulls you back in.
True.
No matter what you do and where you go, it's always there, kind of in the back of your mind of, okay, I got to go back and do that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you feel the same?
Well, you know, I was just thinking back to like even when we were in Rocket Ship, and we would kind of joke, and we'd see people who were 10, 15 years ahead in the industry, and we'd say, yeah, it's going to go the same way for us. Dave's going to be managing someone, Matt's going to be recording someone, and we kind of look and like, okay, who's going back to school? Who's, you know, like, you know, kind of like, you know, just thinking a little bit ahead. But yeah, it did work out, and I took that same break that Dave did. You know, I went back and did a business degree, and you know, worked in marketing, and then, you know, when I got a house and had some space, it was just like, oh wow, people do want me to do things for them, and they do respect me, and they do want to have me on their projects. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Let's look at it a different way. Yeah.
I love it. And listen, as artists, do we ever live in the who will have me, who wants me energy? It keeps us humble, and I suppose I don't like any arrogant types because they don't make it either. So I think that humility and being able to say out loud what you just did, which is, hey, we had an amazing high, and then we had to take a moment for ourselves and pursue personal things, but the passion and the lure of what we do brought us back. And I think that's incredible for folks listening and watching this show to know that success is never a single line. It's just the zigzag that goes all over, am I right?
Yeah, turns out it's a long career.
Yeah, exactly. Who would have thought?
Hopefully,
I know.
it keeps going.
So let's talk more about hurricane music. Sure. The name, I mean, it gives energy and excitement right off the bat, so I love it. And what can we expect when it comes to what hurricane music does for your artists? Like, talk about that for us.
I think like whatever you need, we'll do. It's the kind of like mindset. Matt and I have the unique perspective of being artists and failing, quite frankly, and that's where you learn. So, you know, what I say to all of the artists that I work with is the biggest thing I can offer you is to learn from the mistakes I made and don't make those same mistakes. So, you know, we're doing everything, like, of course, we have a management clientele of 5 artists that we're working with, but outside of that, like, Matt's doing a lot of production, we're doing a ton of consultation work, we're doing marketing for people. It's kind of, we're doing grant writing, kind of like, what do you need in the music industry that we can help with? That's what we're here for. This is what we're passionate about, and it's what we want to do.
I think it's amazing, and you're so right. You know, the best teacher is someone who was in the trenches themselves. You know, that's the experience, right? And it's impressive to know the number of artists that you guys are working with. Anyone that we'd know?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the clients that Dave manages would be Jing Jia, who is an ECMA winner, up for 7 Music NL awards this year, which is incredible. With Violet, a great 5-piece alternative pop band, up for Alternative Band of the Year at Music NL this fall. We've got Rosemary Lawton, who I believe has won Celtic Artist of the Year in the past year.
And is up for Music Educator of the Year this year.
Love
Which again goes to show both sides of the industry, even for people who are teaching and, you know, playing their own original music as well. We have Baraka, who's, you know, one of my production clients who turned into Dave's management client. And which is funny because Dave initially connected me with Baraka when he was at Music NL. So
it's all full circle.
It's kind of just bouncing back and forth. And yeah, like Baraka's up for 4 Music NL awards this fall.
Wow.
And it's cool to see like an album that we've literally made in-house, then be managed and released, and to be on Spotify, you know, to get 65,000 plays in a couple of months, just pitching it to people as 2 people. So it's really something. Yep.
That's amazing, guys. So proud of you and excited for you. In our final moment, let's talk about Music NL Week upcoming and what we can expect from that week based on what you do.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be busy all week. We've got artists showcasing throughout the week, but I think a big thing for us to highlight is after the Music NL Awards show at the Ship Pub, we're doing an after party, Hurricane Music Showcase. There's 7 artists on the bill. It's going to be going all night, and it's going to be a great time, and it's totally free, so people can come on out.
I love that. Thank you so much, guys. Would you come on again and let us know all the cool things that you're up to?
Yeah, maybe we'll bring some guests too.
Oh my
some
God.
musical guests.
I wouldn't be afraid. Let's do it. Guys, Matt and Dave, 2 killers in the game, now helming hurricane music, artists galore. Check them out and reach out for a consultation because they know how to help you do all of the things. This is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. It is Out of the Fog, like I done told you earlier, and I'm hanging out with the Queen Bee Tooth Fairy up in here for the next few minutes, and you're going to hear all about the amazing story, the work that gets done, and how it impacts us. Melonee, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing so great.
Excellent.
Always applauding the fashion and the green you're bringing to us tonight.
Thank you.
TV viewers, it is always fashion with this business-owning maven. I'll tell you right now. I want to have everyone meet you from the context of life before you started MAS placement,
Okay.
AKA your tooth fairy. Tell me everything.
All right. I was a single mother who needed to get a really great job, and I couldn't work evenings or weekends. Went to school, became a dental assistant. I was in my first sort of week at an office, and it was downtown in Tower Center. Beautiful, brand new office. I was like a little girl who didn't really know what I was doing. And the first week, we had an elderly couple come in, and she was so afraid, and her husband was there to support her, and my heart just really went out to her. We barely were even to get her into the chair for an exam, and she ended up needing full mouth clearance, upper, lower. She needed to go to the hospital and have dentures put in, in the, sort of after the surgery.
Right.
And so I was speaking to her, and my heart just went out to her, and as I was sitting talking to her, I said, well, I'll go with you. I'll go to the surgery with you. And she said, okay, wow, okay, that would be great. So the patients left, and I felt really great, and the doctor pulled me into the office and said, you can't go, you have to work. You're supposed to be here working with me. You can't take her to the hospital. And I'm like, but I already told her I would. So he said, you know what, you go ahead and go, let her go in, and then you come back to work. Sure. So that was great. So she came back, I guess a week and a half later, after she had healed, and we were going to put the dentures in. Well, she was just so thankful and brought in the biggest bouquet of flowers I think I've ever seen. And I was hooked. From that moment on, I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, wow.
Right? So, as the years went on, I wasn't a great technical assistant per se. I'm a left-handed person and
Me
a right-handed op. Yeah, are you?
Southpaws unite.
Wicked.
I love it.
But our operatories are built for right-handed dentists, and I'm left-handed. Anyway, I was very clumsy, blah, blah, blah. But the one thing I knew is that I really wanted to help the patients. And that's the goal of every dental professional.
Sure.
Our goal is to help the patients. So I worked in Calgary for many years, and when I came to Newfoundland, I decided that I'd go work in a dental office.
Okay.
And while I was there, we would have a hygienist who wasn't able to come to work. Migraines, people get sick, children sick. And I said to my office manager, do you have a temp agency here that we could just call and have a hygienist come in at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning? She said, no, we don't have anything like that here. And I said, okay, I'm gonna quit my job. So I got a pen and a piece of paper, and I got a mentor, and part of my business plan was that I had to call every single dental office in Newfoundland to see if they would avail of a temp service. That was the very first thing I wanted to start with.
Wow.
So I called all of them. I think there was 113 at that point, because that was back in 2013.
Oh, wow.
All of them said no. We're doing okay, we don't need it, we'll, we'll cancel the day, because an assistant, you can't really work without one.
Exactly.
And a hygienist, you're gonna lose a lot. Patients book 6, 9, 12 months in advance.
Yeah, who said, oh yeah, we'll just cancel a day? That to me sounds impossible.
Yeah, it's not great, it's not
No.
great. So I cried, and then I did it anyway.
Oh,
I just kept going forward, kept going forward, kept going forward. And then one day the phone rang. And 10 years later, here we are, we've placed candidates in every single province in Canada.
Now that is an incredible story of
Yes.
not taking no for an answer.
I did not.
Well, I don't think you're the type who would. But a lot of people maybe would have taken their toys and went home out of it. What made you dig in and say, no, people need this, and I'm doing it?
Well, our focus as dental people is always the patients. And I was really focused on the fact that if there isn't a full staff, we work as a team in a dental office. If one person is missing, somebody else has to pick up that slack. The patients are getting the care that they deserve. So even though there was tears and mistakes and lessons learned and many sleepless nights, I just knew that it was a thing that somebody really needed. They really needed help. So we went from placing temps, now we place permanent dentists, hygienists, assistants, and reception across Canada.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I have a great team of girls who are all from the dental office.
Oh, wow.
So we all know exactly what the candidates are looking for, and we know what the office is looking for. So we can match them together.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Because, you know, someone who's looking to move or is, you know, moving here for whatever reason and wants to find a place to be, that's not a fly-by-night. They want to be in a place where they're going to dig. And we all know the cost of having to retrain someone who leaves.
Yes.
I mean, you know, no one wants to be doing that. And that's the problem that you solve.
Yes, and I picked up the Newfoundland cultural way. When we would have dentists come to Newfoundland, they would stay at my home. I would lend girls my car. I did anything I could to try and help get this business on the go.
That's amazing.
So yeah, people were really shocked, and I'm like, that's just the Newfoundland way. That's just what we do
that's
here.
how we do.
So yeah, no, it's been challenging, wonderful, and it's so great to see that people are availing of the service.
10 years of doing what you do as a business owner, as a you know, healthcare caring person to make sure everyone around you is getting what they need. Who do you have to thank for 10 years of success?
Oh, so many people. My very first employer, Mike and Sandy Pinnell, all of the girls that worked for me, there's been 5 of them. Catherine, Alana, Nicole, Vanessa, yeah, there's a lot of girls, and they're just fantastic. All the dental offices, all the hygienists that work in temp, all great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, really fantastic.
We're in our final moment here.
Yeah.
I want you to let us know some exciting things that are making you excited about 10 years and what's to come.
So my goal was always to give back. I always wanted to give back. That's the reason why I started the business. And now we're at 10 years, and I can offer the Kean College dental assistant graduates a bursary.
Wow.
So I'm able to give them a bursary once a year at Christmas time. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's so great.
And we also help out the Gathering Place. So we help the Gathering Place find volunteers. So it's exactly where I want to be.
Listen, I will tell you what, from knowing you and in our final hang here, I want you to come back for the 20th year.
Oh, gosh.
And if anyone is watching this, I want you to reach out, Google Your Tooth Fairy, Melonee, MAS placement, because the importance of our healthcare industry as it pertains to ensuring that we are able to have people in those chairs that take care of us in all the healthcare ways is no joke. It's more and more important than ever. And Melonee, thank you so much for doing what you do.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll come back.
I will.
I love it.
Okay.
Guys, this is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back to wrap after this break. Well, guys, what can I tell you? Another amazing show hanging out on the couch tonight. Thank you so much, Helen Escott. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Dave. And thank you, Melonee. Guys, I'll tell you what.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
We can be hurt. We can be bruised. We can be broken.